Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back for another brand new video. Now today's video is actually talking about a subject that happened yesterday. I know troops, I know I'm getting old and slow in my old age. But again, we had a game to break down, we had a game to discuss, we had a game to focus on yesterday. But now that the points have been secured, the game has been won. Let's go ahead and discuss the right back spot of Rangers, discuss that Everton bid and discuss the one and only Nathan Patterson. But as always, before we do dive into the main subject in today's video, it's time for me to be very cheap and very cheeky. But if you don't mind helping the old channel, that'd be greatly appreciated by hitting that subscribe button and moving us on our way to hopefully one day reaching 56k. But back to the main talking point in today's video. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you may have missed it or you may have just came here to actually discuss it, but there was of course a £5 million bid from Everton Football Club for the Rangers right back Nathan Patterson. That's right, 5 million Great British pounds, which was about 10-15 years ago. That'd be something you'd look at and say, you know what, for the number 2 at the club, £5 million, that's not too shabby, Alonso. But these days, ladies and gentlemen, the financial market and how much has changed thanks to sponsorship deals, commercial deals, especially down south in the top flight of English football, where they just get crazy amounts of money for literally nothing. 5 million is simply laughable. And you know what the best part about all this is, ladies and gentlemen, is not only is it laughable to us, the fans, but this was Steven Gerrard's reaction when he was asked about the £5 million bid for Nathan Parsons. 1 second, I just need to grab Gerrard for a second. Sorry, Stevie. Hi. What's your reaction to that news, Stevie?
£5 million. Yeah. I'll tell the joke.
Yeah, you carry on with the joke.
Honestly, man, if that is just perfect, I don't know what is. Like, honestly, his reaction to that is absolutely incredible, because if you look at it from maybe just a fan's perspective, if we're sitting there laughing about it, that might just be your bias, because listen, we love our football club and we love these players and we're very protective of these players, and we will always argue and battle that they're worth more than maybe what the bids come in or what they actually are. But when you've got someone like the likes of Steven Gerrard, who's been there, seen it, and he's done it all, ladies and gentlemen, who works with this young lad day in, day out, off the park, on, hearing the news that a £5 million bid has come in and all he can do is simply laugh at it, right there is absolutely perfection, because this isn't a bias thing, rubbishing £5 million or anything like that. It's a common sense thing. This is a 19-year-old kid with the potential that this man has got. He's already an international at the age of just 19. He's already played and scored in the latter stages of a European tournament, and his ability right now, because everyone always talks about the potential of Patterson and what he could be, what he is right now, for me, is the second best right back in the league, and I mean that genuinely. And the fact that I do mean that, I do see him as the second best right back in this league, the fact that he is already that calibre of a player, yet the sky is still the limit on where this kid could go, says it all. And because the sky is the limit for this man's potential, his value should reflect that as well. But I know some of the rag papers and some of these people out there that didn't get anywhere near the building, they didn't speak to anybody, they didn't have any contacts inside Rangers, were coming out and using their papers for firing out exclusives that Rangers were considering the bids, considering the 5 million, etc, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm here to remind you, they are talking rubbish. If it's for one of these rag papers that I don't even need to say the name of, yet you know who exactly I'm talking about, if they're writing it, it's usually the exact opposite and usually a lot of bollocks. Rangers didn't consider it at all. It was swiftly rejected the instance they saw it, probably laughed, probably showed that around the dressing room. Lad, you seen this? 5 million it says. I know. Jimmy! Sorry Jimmy, I wasn't shouting at you, I was just trying to share some happiness with you. But anyway, everyone would have had a laugh and it was swiftly rejected, ladies and gentlemen. So Rangers aren't considering this bid at all, no matter what dirt, rag paper and bitter-filled hack says in the press. But now that we've addressed the bid and we've addressed what really happened with said bid, let's transition in and speak more about the right back spot in Patterson and Tavernier, because again, this is a kid with so much ability right now but so much potential. But with our captain and the man who plays in front of him coming in and grabbing his 4th assist in just 6 games so far this season, Nathan Patterson's chances of playing week in and week out for Rangers isn't any closer at all. Now, I know we've heard little teases by the manager and the staff, and we've heard little bits and bobs from even the players themselves that we could potentially one day see both Patterson and Tavernier in the starting 11. That could work. They could go and do that. And despite me always getting so excited about that prospect, Patterson's defensive side at the right back, and then Tav's unbelievable attacking presence down the right hand side, and the combination at that could bring, despite me getting lost in all those thoughts and all those imaginations, sometimes I need to pinch myself and bring myself back to reality that it isn't FIFA, it isn't Football Manager. Just because two players can play in a position doesn't mean they can go out and still have that impact in a different one. Because Tav is fantastic going forward, ladies and gentlemen. He is a fantastic modern day fullback, but that doesn't mean he'll be a fantastic right winger, because the space that Tavernier uses so damn well from right back is only there because someone else in front of him is bringing a defender, bringing a fullback, bringing a midfielder inside or moving them away to allow Tavernier to make that space, and that is what he uses, and that's one of his biggest strengths, arriving in that space and whipping it in. That space that he's got right now at right back compared to what he'd be if he was a right winger is night and day, ladies and gentlemen. He would have to play a lot with his back to goal as well, and he would have to create his own space rather than other people creating it, and that is a massive thing as well. That's why wingers and attacking players need to have those instincts to know when to go and what to create. And as much as I love our boy Tavernier, we've saw nothing to suggest that he is able to do that when he's on that right hand side. Go back and look at even the couple of friendlies that we had this season. When we did try it, you could see that it wasn't natural, and Tavernier was just kind of floating about out there, and it only lasted, what, 10 minutes in both games because it just didn't work. Now again, never say never or anything like that. I don't know, maybe they're doing double sessions behind the scenes and they're working on it, and they will unveil it in a couple of months' time, and it will be absolutely glorious. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, that happens. But all I can address and all I can discuss and all I can break down right now is what is happening right now at the football club, and that is Nathan Patterson kinda in limbo, where he's an internationalist at the age of 19 and better than 99.9% of the right backs in our league, but he doesn't start for us. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, I am preparing myself mentally for a lot more bids, a lot more clubs, and a lot more iffy offers being sent for our boy Patterson, because there will be people out there, there will be clubs out there looking to test the resolve of Rangers. Because if we just take our heart and if we just take our soul off the table, right, and we just look at the cold hard facts, this is money, and good money, eventually probably one day, not the 5 million, but it could eventually get there. The good money could be coming in and being offered for the backup right back at Rangers Football Club. Now I know that's so harsh to call him that, ladies and gentlemen, but again, that is what he is right now. Because as I'm currently recording today's video, Nathan Patterson has only made one appearance so far this season, and it was in the cup game versus Dunfermline, where he was absolutely sensational as per when it comes to our boy Nathan Patterson. But the crunch games, the European games, he's nowhere to be seen right now because of the captain and the guy that's in front of him at that right back spot by the name of Tavernier. So it does leave us in this very, very weird situation regarding Patterson, where I think this is going to be the first of many bids. But with everything I've said so far and the fact that he isn't playing and he is quote unquote the backup right back at Rangers, does that mean I'm sitting here thinking to myself, or I'm suggesting that we should cash in on the laddie? Absolutely not. And hopefully you've made it to this point in today's video where you've heard this and you haven't went down a one way. Shout to me in the comments and left. By no stretch of the imagination should we accept any bids, if I'm honest with you. And I mean that. You might laugh at me or anything like that, but I want to take any value right now for Patterson, because this kid's a star right now. And if he keeps progressing the way he's been progressing over the last 12 months, what could he be next year or the year after that? That's a scary prospect, but a prospect that could be at our freaking football club. Bloody better be, by the way. And you know, son, I go back to something I said earlier on in today's video when I was speaking to you, and I was talking about that this guy is the second best right back in the league. But I've got to be honest with you, if I'm just talking about from a defensive point of view, that gap between Tavernier and Patterson isn't that big, in my opinion. I think they're very, very close in terms of their defensive instincts, positioning, and where they play. Maybe Patterson edges it for me. And listen, you know I'm a Tavernier guy and I absolutely love the guy to bits, but Patterson has grew up and he's spent his entire career from youth level, year after year after year, being a fullback. He's just got that natural instinct to be in the right place at the right time, and he just sniffs out danger that Tavernier, who's obviously had the career progression starting up front, working his way back to being a phenomenal attacking fullback, that man just doesn't have. And again, I'm not taking shots at either one of them here, but from a defensive point of view, they're right there, if not Parsons better. But if you're talking about attacking and what he brings to the team and an important cog to make us win, there's quite a distance in my opinion, because not only has Tavernier now just got his 4th assist in 6 games when the entire team hasn't really been at it. This man Tavernier has brought 65 goals to the football club, 94 assists in just 295 games. Now, you'd be happy with that if you were a striker or a winger or attacking midfielder. You'd be delighted with those numbers. But that numbers and these stats that he's putting out there is coming from the right back spot of Rangers, and it's no fair to compare what a Patterson or anyone else could bring to Rangers, because no one gets near Tavernier in terms of what the supply and the production that he's brought from that right back spot. Go back and look at the numbers and look at the stats. No one comes close to Tavernier in terms of attacking for Rangers. So it's not an easy situation at all for the football club, and it's certainly not an easy choice week in and week out for Steven Gerrard to make in that right back spot. And this is why it's all a mess, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I wanted to make it its own individual video and break down not only the bid and everything like that and how good of a player Patterson is, but the current problem that we have at right back with 2 fantastic right backs there at the football club at the same time. One of them is the captain, and another is a young wonder kid who genuinely could go anywhere and become anything that this kid wants to become. But again, just to reconfirm my stance, I wouldn't be moving on Patterson during the window. I certainly wouldn't be moving on Tavernier, and I wouldn't quite be ready yet to replace Tavernier with Nathan Patterson. I don't think it's ready just yet. For me, if we want to have a successful season, we will need both throughout the entire freaking campaign, and that is where I sit with it, ladies and gentlemen. If you are still here watching today's video, make sure you're getting your thoughts and opinions out there, because I genuinely love this. Is more of just a conversation just about our football club, so share your opinions below, not only on the Nathan Patterson bid, but do you think that Nathan Patterson should actually be starting more games for Rangers? Should he be the number 1? And last but not least, what price tag would you genuinely slap on this very young talented wonder kid? Love to know what your opinions are down there in the comment section below, and if you do get involved in today's video, I'll be speaking to you very, very shortly. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have been Siege over 92. That has been an awake Rocky Boy Johnson for once. But until next time, take care of yourselves, all the best, and bye.